And we are live doing something different for our 75th
Our Diamond Jubilee anniversary of
Diamond
Coffee and Rip.
Jubilee.
Hard to believe we've been doing this that long. It's been a lot of fun, and
We
you
are,
know,
yeah, a lot of fun, a lot
just a
of
couple guys
wax,
talking about cards and baseball.
a lot of hobby yapping, a lot of complaining, a lot of whining, a lot of ripping, a lot of going over, a lot of offers, a lot of hits. Um,
Well, one of I think we should do is for 2025 is to really concentrate on getting a couple more live rips. We'll figure out some ways for some extra camera angles and stuff on that.
we have to.
Um,
That's our mission. Our objective for 2025 is to keep it amateur hour, but bring in some added elements to it.
and we may or may not have some extra product to rip.
Yeah, we may listen. 2025, we'll get into the shit ton of products being released in a second, but 2025 should bring with it a lot of ripping.
Yes.
We're gonna make sure that we monetize some of Ron's holdings that he's been accumulating for extracurricular, extraneous reasons. Let's call it. We have to get Ron back to a decent level of hold instead of this overwhelming, amazing wax porn wall
Hey,
he has behind him.
right now I'm at my own personal card shop. Hey, Ron, you want to go buy some wax?
Literally,
turn around
figuratively,
here.
and literally. I'm like, Ron, hit me. I need this. Hit me up.
I do have the box of Stadium Club sitting on the table for you.
Right.
There.
Amazing. No, I am in need of some inventory for the PCB. The PCB volume 30 has it almost, well, it's almost sold out. I think it's one box left, but I may just razz it or something. But since I'm here, thank you all for your patronage, patrocinaje in good Spanish. I will be trying to implement some changes. I'm trying to get more action on the online store because I've somewhat abandoned it, even if I'm paying for it. I was telling Ron offline. I need to invest some time and bandwidth into setting it up and pushing it through Facebook ads, et cetera, et cetera. I haven't been posting the latest 4 or 5 boxes because literally they've sold out before public release. Luckily, because of you guys. But I want to get more action. I want to get more customers enjoying this stuff. So I gotta devote some time to it. Spend some time listing, spend some time setting up automatic stuff, using the features that Shopify has to my benefit. Linking it with Facebook, doing some Facebook ads. There may be some Ron interventions. Who knows? Some promos that Ron unpaid at the moment. But
I feel like I'm a college intern all over again.
Well, as long as you're not that type of college student that did something crazy in New York this past week, or was he a college student? No, recent grad.
No, he was done.
He was a goofball. That's what it was, throwing his life away. Life of privilege, Ivy League, throwing it away. Anyways, let's not talk about that. Let's not get depressed.
Let's not talk about $40,000 a year for your middle school education.
Jesus Christ. Anyways, although I'm not that far off, and I'm doing with preschoolers and for second graders. Jesus. In California. Anyways, yeah. So changes are coming. Hopefully, we're gonna figure out some new camera angles. We're doing something different for the 75th. We're recording this instead of going live. Unfortunately, the only time we can go live. It's in the morning or mid afternoons. It's taking a break from work for some folks. Others this is the time we have. And I really can't personally go online or live at night. So, but we know that most of the eyeballs come at night. So, trying something different. See if people like this in a recorded fashion. But we're here to talk about baseball cards and the hobby.
Absolutely.
Although Ron wants to talk about apparently someone important signed this week.
Well, you know what? There was a signing this week,
I
but
forget who it was.
and word on the street is, hey, it wasn't so good. Other people going, oh, this is the greatest thing. So we shall see.
Some people say he
It's
got
something
robbed.
we've talked and speculated about this for weeks now. We both had agreed that we know there was an East Coast love for our friend Mr. Soto, as he walked the East Coast life. You know, we knew he has an East Coast bias.
Right.
It's where the community is that he's a part of. So
we can talk about it now.
Yeah, and so a lot of the fun things I've seen. I saw this picture with several different drawings on it. So it had a pentagon, and it says pentagon, and it had an octagon. It says octagon, and it had another one as septagon or something like that, where it was a seven side, and then it had the New York symbol, and it said that's a sotogon. So
funny.
Been enjoying the talk, but you look at the fact that the guy turned his career into the biggest money transaction ever for an athlete in U.S. sports. Anyway, I don't know about European sports and international sports or F1. I mean, F1 drivers get crazy money, but what he's gotten was such a huge deal, and it's not deferred money. It's not a Dodger play where they put all the money, hey, we're paying you $1 million this year, and you'll get the other 100 million on the back each year. So it's not deferred. It's crazy. There's a 5-year clause in there where he can get out after 5 years. But why would you want to do that if you're banking the biggest bank right now in anything? And what this does is you take a look back at, he's 26. Tatis is 26. Padres rushed to sign Tatis. They got him at I think it was 330 million, 13 years. It's a bargain now if you take a look at it. The fact that they went early and grabbed that, gave him that money early, and avoided being in a 500 million situation with him right now. So, it's a heck of a play. What else are the Mets going to do this? Do they make themselves a one-horse team, or are they going to build around it and really compete for a championship? Well, and that's why I defer over to my friend.
No, I mean, listen,
a Mets fan.
There is and Mets fan. Honestly, so many layers to this. I know the player personally a little bit, not too much. I wouldn't call him a friend. I know him. I know his family. I know he comes from a great family.
You're acquainted.
I can talk about this from various angles. It's a lot. It's a lot because I can talk from the perspective of a Mets fan, current and past, and what this signing means, and for the future. I can talk about this from his angle, his perspective. I can talk about it from the Mets perspective, the Yankees perspective, and it's a lot to uncover. I'll try to be as fast and as exhaustive as possible, but also include but also not spend 20 minutes on this.
Yeah.
So from the Mets perspective, I've been a Mets fan since I'm like 6-7 years old. My grandma on my dad's side was a huge Mets fan. I would go visit her every weekend, and we would spend Saturdays and mostly Sundays just watching Lenny Dykstra, Wally Backman, Santana, Keith Hernandez, Strawberry, Mike Reynolds.
That Gooden kid.
The third baseman, the Nelson Nats broadcaster, forget his name, feisty dude. all those dudes. My grandma had like nicknames for all of them. She knew like the stat line. That's like I started playing baseball around that same time, but
Lee Mazzelli.
it was because of her that I was introduced to what a stat line, what back of the card was, and like she knew all these numbers, and she was such a freak fan. Those were some of the most memorable days for me as a young kid, watching those games, watching those Sunday broadcasts on WOR or something like that. So that was a lot of fun memories, and so I became a Mets fan at that point. Obviously, when the team was still owned by the Doubledays, and partly with the Wilpons, which I affectionately called them later the Coupons, because they were so cheap, and took the franchise in the wrong route, the wrong way, starting with the Bobby Bonilla contract, which I understand it at the moment. But essentially, the Mets were really, really good when I started following them. Those 80s and those 80s teams were amazing, were compelling, were good, but they were compelling, they were feisty, they were good. They were a combination of what the bully Phillies were at any moment with like the talent of the Dodgers. They were talented, but also like assholes and bullies and smokers and drinkers, and they did cocaine. No one knew about it, but people knew they were bad boys, but they also like were really good on the field, right? So as a kid, we don't know that, right? We just enjoy the playing on the field and the numbers.
They were a competitive, feisty team.
Yeah.
And was it Lee Mazzelli who you were thinking of?
No, it was the third baseman. I forget.
Oh.
Anyways, he's a broadcaster for the Nats now. And so Lee Mazzelli was I used to love his swing and his batting stance. But anyways, Mookie Wilson, all those dudes. So the Mets were really good. The point I'm trying to make is that I grew up when the Mets were really good, with the talk of the town. Really, the Yankees had no 80s presence really whatsoever, and 90s, the lower 90s, no, not really the same thing. And so I was introduced to the Mets in a lovable. This was like the amazing team, right? The Amazings. That's what they were called. Now, I grow into the 90s and I'm in like high school and early college, and the team sucks. Team's terrible. So I weathered through those 90s years. They made finally a last hurrah at the 99. They made it to World Series in 2000. And so the team got kind of good. But all throughout these sort of like leaps and this like leaps of being good and waves of being good and then terrible, you weather it. But like at the same time, as you grow into an adult, you start appreciating. And I started getting into the business of sports in college, and I started appreciating like how TV money works, how contracts work, the reasons behind why the reasons behind why some administrations act the way that they act, depending on how much money these owners have or not, depending on where their money comes from, depending on the TV deal that they have, depending on the market. You start really understanding how these work, and you grow to learn that your owner sucks, that your owner is in this for the wrong reasons, and they're like they're bad at owning a team. They're constantly running it at a loss, constantly, obviously still appreciating from the still benefiting from the natural appreciation of the asset, because MLB, a sports franchise, is one of the assets that a few assets that grow regardless of like, they don't depreciate, they just grow, right? All you gotta do is hold it. So still benefiting from the that appreciative value and nature of owning that asset, but putting out there a terrible product. And then so many layers of why bad, having people in the ownership group that think that they know baseball and inserting themselves into the GM role and wanting to play GM. And that led to many bad decisions. So all in all, to say that for the longest time, we were second fiddle, the younger brother of the other New York team, not only because the other team had always had the money and they came first, obviously, but because they had deep pockets and knew what they were doing. They let people manage.
Yeah, and they'd set up that, Yankee Sports Network.
Right.
Yankees early on, the Yes was one of the premier things that created revenue for that team that helped them fund themselves. I mean, a WOR deal is great and all, but you have the Yankees Entertainment Sports Network out there. It was bringing money to the team that the Mets didn't have, and a lot lot of teams have never been able to replicate the success of.
Yeah, they were the first to do to have their own to own their own regional network, or SNY. The S network.
Yes.
The Mets came shortly after, but they also have their own station, their own network now. However, it wasn't until, and so those mistakes in administration and ownership, that lackadaisical kind of support, monetary support for the team, depending on, and then lack of finding the right leadership. It was the freaking nail in our hearts that we didn't have the ownership that had enough deep pockets to support what this team could be, and the right management. And so fast forward, and these are long years. We're talking about the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, finding gold here and there, 2015, but not a sustainable model of development, right? Development, solid management, solid ownership. Honestly, the happiest day I've been as a Mets, and I think I've shared this with you, definitely have shared it with many friends. My happiest day as a Mets fan was the day that Steve Cohen bought the franchise, because I knew what he wanted to do with it, and he was explicit and upfront about it. He all of a sudden became the richest owner in baseball, and committed to, and a fan of the Mets, and committed. Obviously, someone successful with FU money that was committed to putting the dollars, behind the club, but not just money, not just throwing money. Committed to putting in an administration, someone from the private equity and hedge fund side that said, I know nothing about running a baseball team. I'm just going to hire the best people to do it for me, right? And then get out of the way. And so knowing that someone had that perspective, that approach to owning a team, of putting in whatever money necessary, right? Because I'm a 21 something billionaire, and then getting out of the way, I was like, man, my wishes had like this. Honestly, it was the best. It was the best day of my life, because I knew what this was going. I knew that he wanted to build a sustainable model. I knew he wanted to put money where he wanted to spend money when it had to be spent, but also develop the farm system, invest in infrastructure, so that happened. And listen, it took a few years to kind of like get the machine going, but that's what it takes.
Yeah, well, there's layers in there you got to remove that were in place,
right?
So there's all that transition work. You can't just fire everybody day one and build a team from scratch. You've got to start building. I mean, you look at the fact that they went after Lindor, and at first people were like, "Oh, he's not going to really do it." But you look at the season he had this last year. Yeah. He was the right guy for them to have picked up. A couple of years ago, and they got him for a song. Now, when you look at the current contract situations,
yeah.
So,
listen,
they looked at building blocks rather than instant fixes.
And he also, what I mean by it took a few years is that he also inherited some folks that he wasn't just going to throw out. Like, he inherited a GM, he inherited so there was some learning curve, right? Between I got to deal with this guy, and then who he hired, and then the guy had he was like a sex offender, and then the other one comes and he's like a gambler or a drunk driver, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, when? And then he obviously had his mind set on hiring David Stearns away from Milwaukee. But I think Stearns had maybe 1 or 2 more years on the contract. And again, he identified the person that he wants running the team, which in the same vein as the Dodgers, it's a GM that comes from running a small team, small market, now running a big market, but with a small team mentality, right? which is exactly what the Dodgers have in Epstein, Andrew Epstein, whatever his whatever his name is. He came from running the Rays beautifully, and now he runs the Dodgers, and he does it beautifully, supported with big money. There's nothing scarier than a small market GM with big market pockets.
Dollars.
Because those mother effers have that scouting, like boom, that player development ready, those facilities, that investment in logistics, in analytics, in facilities, like all that is like, because those are those small teams operate at those margins. That's where they compete, right? And so when you've got someone that operates like that, and then it's like, oh wait, we need this guy. Can you sign Lindor? Or like, we need that guy. So again, to close this loop, as a Mets fan, I'm so excited because we finally are where we are at. Like we are their team right now. And so doing a segue to the Yankees and how I feel this is a stupid FU to the Yankees and a big egg in your face, or a big, a moment for them of being like, oh shoot, like we're not the talk of the town anymore. Like there's someone across town that has larger pockets than we do, that has a better farm system, that has better management, that has a clearer path. And again, to segue to Juan Soto, honestly, I told Ron before I could go public with anything, I was like, listen, I am pretty sure that Juan Soto would prefer staying with the Yankees. I think it's going to be – the Mets are really tantalizing too because of all the factors we just talked about. Yep. But I really feel he's comfortable in New York, and he did really well there. The park works in his favor. He's got great protection behind him. He's really comfortable there. I told Ron, I think the only way he's not a Yankee is if the Mets like blow it through the roof, right, with the offer. And so I think ultimately that happened. I think ultimately the Mets offer was too good, especially when you bring in the kicker of the $5 million after 2029, the $5 million extra, bumping it up to $805 million, which is crazy. But two, and honestly, I blame myself because I did not weigh this as strong as I should have weighed it. And I recognize it. I told Ron and other people about it. The Mets were a better team. So the Mets, how do I say this? The Mets offered him the best chance to be successful the next 5, 6, 7 years, just based on roster composition, based on who they've got in the pipeline, the money that they have to spend on pitching that they need and other positions. The Yankees are old. They're getting older. They're super right-handed heavy. They have okay pitching, but suspect. Also getting old, and no talent coming up. Other than J-Dom, no talent coming up because they gave it all to the Padres.
And at age 31 or 32, J-Dom will still be the top prospect in their organization.
Yeah. So and besides that, no real plan, right, to address. Like the Yankees are not necessarily anymore the destination for a free agent. There are other destinations. And so because I think that he saw a clearer path to winning, at least for the next 5, 6, 7 years with the Mets, more money with them, more guaranteed money with them. And listen, he's got Lindor in his ear. He's got Beltran, who he's really close with in his ear. And Beltran was an assistant to the GM with the Yankees, and he's currently assistant to the GM with the Mets. He's seen both sides. He's played in both markets. And someone that has a similar, other than defensively, some has a similar swing profile and player profile as he does from a hitting perspective. And they're close. I was like, man, I failed to give the proper weight to the fact that all those facts pointed to Mets being their favorite. And it's funny. The funniest thing, and I'll close with this, is all along this last week, I'm thinking that, man, the Mets are going to offer more money. The Yankees are getting close, and they're shortening the gap. They're offering pretty much the same. I think it's going to go Yanks. And I know he wanted to run it back. Like he wanted to play there. But then like the day they signed Ron, I was texting with my best friend, one of my best friends who's the one that knows him really well. And I was like, man, I woke up with this gut feeling that the Mets are the favorites now. That I feel that if the Yankees came close, and they did, they countered and they came really close off it, and they still haven't announced it, it's weird. Like, I think the Mets are the favorites. Something told me, and it happened. And I don't know. It was just a gut feeling. I think he's in the right place. And listen, he can build his own legacy there. If he goes there and he's successful,
he's out of the shadow of Judge.
Yeah.
He can win his MVP there against Ohtani, though. But, he's got a chance to make his own legacy now.
He does. And listen, it's from the Mets perspective, you have to make this investment because this one sends a big message that you are the team now, positioned to win, and with the proper management, the proper ownership in New York, sending a huge message. And two, listen, this guy is going to give you X level of production for 12 years. Now, you're going to be okay with 51, you had to make the analysis that however wars are measured now. I think last time I checked, a point in war was valued at 8 million or something like that per number of war. So you figure this guy for the next 7 years, he's going to give you 7 war at least because he has defensive limitations. He's going to give you 7 to 8 war every year, right? Per season. Then at the very least, you would think if you keep him, right? If you keep him because you pay whatever additionally, you're still going to get a good 6 war, whatever from him for the next. I think he's going to be a relatively same player for the next 8-10 years. He should be. Obviously, there'll be a little decline, and he'll play the age and all that shit. Fine. But, listen, if after year 5, the way I look at it, if after year 4, is it 5? Yeah, in 2029, if you haven't won a chip yet, and he's been okay but not spectacular, and your team hasn't improved, he's going to be in a position where, you're okay with paying him $50 million for the rest, whatever, because he still brings in that value, or let him go. And he'll opt out and he wants to cash in another offer at year 30, then so be it. So in that sense, I think there's a little bit of a safety valve there for both him and the club. And I think he'll do great.
Yeah. So one of the investments that I made in him is now going to pay off by me buying those that 4-pack of Mets tickets here in San Diego, hoping that my friend Jorge Prospector will come on down to San Diego. Now you've got more of a reason than ever.
More than a reason. No, listen, it should be awesome. I'm sitting on. So okay, let's talk a little bit about. One last thing I'd say is he's got Citi Field is the best. He's got the best numbers in Citi Field than any other ballpark in the league. I'll just throw that. Yeah. So he obviously sees the ball well there, even if it's not a hitter-friendly park. Anyways, let's talk about how this affects cards. That's a good segue to cards. Obviously,
the interesting thing is he's going to be in his 4th uniform.
Yeah.
So you look at the fact that 18-year-old kid that was in that first uniform for the Nationals, you look at.
Let me critique your premise real quick though. He's in his 4th team, but he's in his second team he's chosen. He's been traded twice. You have no say in that, right? Obviously you want to have a legacy.
He had no say.
You want to spend the rest of the bulk of your time with one franchise, maybe 2. But he's traded.
He had no say. He had no say. Nope.
So the way I look at it, this is his second team. Really, this is his second team he's chosen.
The Padres gave up a lot to get him, but they got a ton when they traded him to New York.
They got a lot more.
it really makes the Padres look better on that end of that trade. Getting all that talent back, because he didn't stay. If he'd stayed with the Yankees, it would have changed that. But because he moved on, what does it do to his cards? I know I've got a few Sotos tucked away in somewhere in all of this. But you look at his early Bowman. Okay, those are great. Those are solid investments. People love those. You look at some of his rookie cards. Got a great rookie card out there. Yeah. People are able to still get it at a discount compared to some of the other rookie cards. You look at the fact that this guy has a top contract in all of baseball. That card is a bargain in comparison to the contracts he's signed. Right. So now, if you're a Soto hunter, grab them.
Yeah, I'll say this. This is my take on it, my read. I think two things are certain. Two things. One is that there's going to be a general, meaning Nats, Padres, Yankees, Cards, dip, just by nature of the news, an immediate, a very short term, like this week and this month dip. Maybe even off season. Let's call it a pretty. I would probably call it. It wouldn't surprise me if there's a 10 to 15, maybe 20% dip on his card prices in general in the off season, because a lot of people were not holding the bag, but a lot of people had invested in him, in him staying a Yankee. So a lot of people bought a lot of his Yankee cards, Yankee autos, this and that. And so I think there's going to be a general, maybe I'm calling it 10, 15% dip. It'll be short-lived. Yep. That's one thing. The second is that one thing that's going to be, so that's on the short term. The second thing I think there's going to happen for sure is more of a long-term thing. I definitely feel that his both Padres and Yankee cards are going to start a slow but steady decline.
I would agree.
And I'm not sure it's so slow and steady. It may be more sudden. I think a lot of people holding those autos, those Padres and Yankees autos, I think they're going to start unloading them like crazy. Because to be honest, if he's going to be a Met for the foreseeable future, those cards really have no PC value, other than maybe you PC him and you want to have him in all. But you probably don't. You probably want to have him in his Mets cards or Nats cards. So those things I know for sure will happen. Now, the third thing I think will happen is that I think his early cards, I think it's going to be a premium paid on his early cards, being Bowman stuff and the Nats.
Yeah, Bowman and Nats rookie. Yeah, I agree.
I think
those will be the ones.
I think those will appreciate. So I'm kind of excited, but pissed off at also the same time in my 2018 wax holdings, because I know those will appreciate. I know there's going to be now a premium on those Bowman and 2018 update products, because those are going to be those will have value even if he's in a Nats uniform. I think that's who drafted them. That's going to have value. And then second, I expect somewhat of a holding pattern for some folks until once the season starts. I think a lot of people are going to be kind of ready to see if they pounce on, did he really turn the corner and stopped having those terrible Aprils like he used to have, that reversed when he became a Yankee. He had an amazing beginning.
Yeah.
I think some people are going to be like looking to see what he does, right? Does he have that first April as a Met Beltran year where he stunk, or Lindor, the same thing. They stunk because probably pressure, money pressure, whatever. A lot of pressure on them. Depends. So a lot of people will be on the fence. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets somewhat of a spring training. If he's doing well in spring training, dude, people are going to be like, oh, no, this player is like, you have to own him in Mets uniform. And so I think I think his market will tick up again. So to paraphrase, I think I would be, like Ron says, I would be on the lookout in the offseason for deals.
Definitely.
Especially those Nats cards.
Yeah, that's where I would go as well. The Topps had put out a set Juan Soto X Tops or Tops X1 Soto set a
They
couple
did,
years
right?
ago. Picked up a couple of those. They were sticker autos. Those are nice. Might be something for people to take a look and see if they can pick up a box or two out there still.
Yeah.
I picked up a box or two, and I ended up with one of his autos on it. It's a sticker auto, but still, there was some
so
nice
is his
looking
Bowman
Soto.
draft.
Yeah, so there's some nice cards to be had out there. So I am in the buy the Nats card position right now. That's
And listen, and I would say Bowman too, but that's going to be expensive.
Yep.
That's going to be like
Yep.
crazy money because those are still out there, and those are live, by the way. He has some retail cards.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is you look at the kid in that card, and I can't
so skinny.
bring it to. It's like he was such a skinny little kid.
Like
he
Barry
was
Bonds.
a little kid. Exactly. He was just a little kid in those pictures.
Yeah. No, but those cards will be cool. I'm one of the plays that I'm looking to maybe do is to pick up, because it's more of a budget play, but to pick up some of those parallels from those like prospect cards. You know, like he had his card is 20. I want to say it's 2016, isn't it? Not 2016 Bowman draft. I think it is. But like he's in 2017 Bowman and 2017 Bowman Chrome and like 2018, like pick up maybe that second year Bowman or something in a parallel. I don't know, a red or a blue. That could be cool. And probably won't cost you that much. But no, I'm sitting on how many autos? I mean, I have memorabilia that I have, but cards. I have a Inception Silver Ink auto of him out of 50 or something like that. Really, he has a clean auto too. I love his auto. But that one's not his rookie year. I don't think he had. So another great thing about the Soto market, and I know, we're like slobbering on, jizzing on Soto, but it's worth it. He's a big deal. He has the attractive thing from a car perspective on Soto is that he doesn't have much out there. He has, because the hobby hadn't really exploded, and because he was a late addition, similar to Acuna in a sense, although Acuna had more cards. He only has update, and on 2018 he's only on update, and he is on like Bowman's best, I want to say. And Bowman's best, and he doesn't have. I believe he doesn't have autos in 2018 update. He may have some in update Chrome, but I'm positive they're stickers. Positive they're stickers. I think he even had a special auto with his rookie, like a variation, something. I want to say, I can't recall if it's that 2018, but even that, it's like sticker. But he does have on card. He has on card Dynasty, which I think is now getting popularity because of the conversion. Some speculators, and I think to a certain degree they're right. They're speculating that because those Dynasty patches, that Dynasty can become like the RPA basketball, like once Topps get the license.
Yeah.
Some people are banging that once Topps get basketball license and football license, that they're going to attract some of those collectors from those sports into baseball, and that they'll be looking for an RPA type of product, and the Dynasty will fill that. And so I want to say Topps, I want to say he has for sure an on-card Bowman's best in his different variations, atomic, whatever. And he does have one of those Dynasty, one of those super premium cards. Outside of that, he doesn't have any cards.
Well, and the other thing with Soto is the beautiful, beautiful signature that he puts in.
Yeah, he has a cool.
I love his signature. He's one of those people where all through the years it's been, if I could grab one, I'd get it, because that signature is gorgeous. It's unique. Nobody signs like him.
It's legible.
And he's consistent, fairly consistent with it. So
you don't have the Jackson Merrill issue.
No, and so many of these young players, and even some of the older guys, they've turned this thing in of signing into it's a chore, let me get over it, rather than, hey, I'm building a fan base. Soto signs like he wants fans to have something good every single time. So
No,
that's one thing I love about him. I'm
I'll
singing
go
his
with the grave.
praises.
I'll go to the grave thinking that Jackson Merrill was really pissed off with Topps for messing up his first Bowman card,
Rookie of the
and that he had he still got a grind to
yeah.
yeah.
So that brings us back to Topps and the products that have been dropping this week. So we had, we've had this onslaught of projects, just a huge onslaught. This week, though, Topps, dumped the Sapphire update on us. So we have this Chrome update Sapphire coming out. It dropped today. It had a pre-order for Monty, and it had a drop today. High price, $428 a pack. It was way overpriced for 32 cards.
One auto,
one auto though guaranteed,
card,
which was a change, and it's on card. But still,
I don't know the checklist.
The overall,
though. I don't know. I haven't seen the checklist, so it could be like no one.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the run. It popped up at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 Eastern today. Within the first minute, before the clock had even changed to 9:01, I was in there with cart checking out
the wheel of death,
and got the wheel of death, and it spun right out, along with several other people in our community. We sat there going, okay, we're not going to get one of these. I was able to get one through my Monty, but that was it. It'll come, and I'll be happy with it. Just be happy I got one. But the price and availability, and the fact that they're popping up instantaneous with the hey, that's too bad. Check out our Fanatics Live. Yeah. Fanatics that's Live where you can go buy them. So they're shorting the stock in their drop to the public to backload it all onto these Fanatics Live and help build their platform. Yep. Is it a monopoly play? Is it legal? Where does that line get blurred there?
Yes and yes. MLB has an antitrust exception, and Topps has it somewhat. Apparently, it has an antitrust exemption because no one has sued.
Yeah. Well, who's left to sue? But a group of guys who are sitting in their basements refreshing their screens all day. We aren't going to sue,
dude. It's
no, this isn't a basement, by the way. You won't find these in a basement.
You won't. They're temperature controlled.
Yes.
No, listen.
Steel-plated doors.
For some reason, because Topps did this same thing for a different reason. They did it for different reasons. Topps did it for different reasons. But for some reason, for me, they did it last year too. Last year, they also had this barrage of products come within 4, 6, 5 weeks of it of altogether. But it was last year around November time as well. But it had to do because they were delayed. They had delayed production cycles.
Yeah.
Right? So we understood that they had to pump these out right before Christmas. We get that. And for some reason, so I understood, but for some reason this year, like, it's pissing me off. Like I was okay with it last year. This year, it was overwhelming. It was overwhelming. It was too much to allocate, and it's overwhelming because the price has gone up. So, and I understand why they're trying to cut. They're trying to take over margins that they previously did not want to take over, and wanted someone else to benefit. And they see the huge gap between basketball premium products and baseball or football, for that matter. And they say, why can't we why can't we charge this much in baseball? Yes, we can. And so if you look at it from that perspective, you're getting a bargain. But I don't collect basketball. I'm not a basketball or football collector. So all I see is a box that used to be $250. Now it's like $450. And then another box comes in. It was $220. Now it's $400. And another box comes in $250. It used to, you know what I'm saying? So at some point it's like, nah, man. Like I want to, but
So as I've been unloading here, this is the sole box of football product I have on my shelf. A single box. I don't know where I got this from.
You don't even know what year it is. It's like, I don't know.
It's a 2021. But it's like I don't even remember getting that. Why do I have that?
I have very few. I have two soccer boxes, Sapphire, that I have no idea what to do with them because they're premium, but they sell probably at 50% of what they cost me. And I have like maybe in one of those boxes, Illusions or some shit like that, basketball.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. I do have some select boxes and some other football boxes and basketball too that I have no idea. One, I don't know why I bought them. Two, I have no idea how I'm going to get rid of them.
Well, we'll get there. The other thing that's dropping tomorrow for everybody is Montgomery Club. So Montgomery Club, the Brooklyn collection. So the Brooklyn collection drops tomorrow. It used to be a Monty exclusive product. They threw this out every year to the Monty Club. Hey, you guys want to buy this? So it's like $150 a box. Here you go. Last year they changed that and offered it to Monty first and then to the general public. It had people screaming, going, wait, this was a Monty only product. It was special for us. Top says, yeah, not so much. This year, I don't even believe
you're not that special.
Pre-sale to Monty. Yeah, they're not even going to pre-sale it to Monty members. I don't believe. I would have seen that by now, I'm sure. Yeah. But it'll be a public drop tomorrow. Low print run. What did
so the
8600?
So the argument for it is that it's a low production, and apparently the price hasn't gone up from last year.
No, I think it may have, but we'll see.
It has, or it went up, but it has guaranteed autos, I think.
Yeah, 2 guaranteed on-card autos.
Are they on card? Have they always been on card? I want to say maybe they always.
No, they always were. Let's see. Let's see. I could get them in there.
I know you have them.
Quite get them in there. Down at the end over there. Yeah. Those last 3 boxes. Those are the 21, 22, and 23 Monty boxes. They're just sitting on the shelf here. So and the cons for it, it's probably just the price that it went up.
But it does have 2 autos, and for being on card and a low production, I think there's meat on that bone. If you look at
yeah, from a card design, some people love them, some people hate them. It's a card.
But I love on card autos. And if the usual suspects are going to be in it, like if Skeens is in it, Ellie's in it, whatever, J-Dom.
One of our folks who was looking at it from our Discord group said, hey, I look at that auto list. There's only 10 people on there that I would not want to get. So that says a lot for what the product is about. So something to take a look at tomorrow.
Is it $189, something like that?
I heard $199. Yeah. It originally said $119 in the text or the tweet that they put out, but I'm sure that was a typo, and it was supposed to have been $199. Who knows? They could have dropped the product price, but we wouldn't be so lucky. But it's something to look forward to. There's some other oddball things coming out. You've got the Boomer's Best coming out. Hey, I don't want a card with all these nicknames on it. That's not something that's enticing.
I'm passing.
Yeah, but it's an auto in one of every 2 boxes. That's auto madness.
I'm passing. I need, honestly, after this, I need a little bit of. I'm glad that January is coming because I need to unplug from all these wax releases and figure out what's worth holding, if anything. I think I'm not sure anything is really worth holding. I got to figure out a better flip game strategy or a combination of flip hold. I think our friend Lowe's has it down to a T. Although he's not really a collector per se, he's a
businessman.
He's a businessman.
He's an entrepreneur.
He's an entrepreneur, and I strive to be like that. I want to have the budget for it, but you have to plan it. You can't just be. You have to work towards that.
Yeah, and
I don't.
he works hard at it
Yeah.
to get what he wants, and works the research end of it on the
Right.
products
Right.
he's
No,
buying.
absolutely.
So it's something we can all aspire to be.
And you have
and
to,
he
and then
will.
you have to adapt, because
Yep.
you can have your players and you can have your. And so for me, I've told you, like I'm very much keen on certain products that I want to hold a bunch of if I can, and it's not current. And so you have to ideally find a way to subsidize that with the proper timing and flipping of some of these crazy boxes, because there is a market out there apparently, even at those crazy prices. There's still a European market, an Asian market.
Yeah, and it's being able to put in the work, like these guys that they flipped Disney. How did they do that? They worked with a reshipper.
Yeah.
In the United Kingdom, I believe. Yeah, that helped them. So they got the product. It got reshipped here. They trebled their money. Absolutely,
800%
profit
margin. Something like that. Craziness.
Yeah, it might have been quadruple. I don't remember if it was 2 or 3 times. But after they took into account the cost of the shipping to them, it ate into it a little bit. But big profits for these guys. So they're looking at the bigger play on the card market than we are. I got a small focus, grab a couple boxes here and there. So restock with my Jorge Prospect Chase boxes coming in.
No, we have fun. We have fun with our product. And the thing I like about that product is that it allows you to have some fun while ripping, and in a safe little budget, right? And for whatever you pay for the price you pay for cable or whatever, you can rip a few premium products that are current and important and have fun with it. If you don't want to spend $2,000 a month on hobby.
Yeah. Well, that was a bad comparison for me because I cut the cord.
Right. Well, yeah, no, I cut the cord too. I cut the cord 3 years ago. But listen, I cut the cord, but I'm still paying a shitload of like Disney, Amazon, Hulu.
Every time we turn around, there's another one.
Paramount. I'm paying probably the same, but I know what I'm paying for.
Yeah, you know what you're paying for. And the problem was all those things that we do pay for now were add-ons to the original package.
Right.
It was like this: you have this deal, you want to add Disney package on this, another 15. Yeah. So you're paying the $15 either direct to Disney or through the provider. So we'll get there. What else we have coming up?
I mean, if anyone sees something in Ron's background and wants to hit him up about it, let me or him know. Ron, you can find Ron on Facebook as Ron Bartley. Where else can people find you? Instagram?
No, mainly on Twitter. Although I do have an Instagram account, I am on Twitter. I'm easy to find there. So
you can find Ron.
Just look for what's your
username?
Tears. It's N Green Room. It's an odd one. I'll throw it out in our Discord group.
Okay.
So people have it. But
or added comments or something. You can find me at Jorge Prospector, both on Facebook and on Instagram. Instagram, you can find it as Jorge Prospector or Prospect Chase Box. It's the same thing, same account. And Facebook, it's Jorge Prospector. I do have a business page of Prospect Chase Box, but honestly, I don't give much love to that. That's just to have it. But yeah, I think this is good. Yeah, go ahead.
We'll work on the camera angles and we'll be ripping next week.
We'll be working we'll be ripping. I think one of the things we'll do to close out the year is that we'll finally do a box battle. I think we both have some hanger boxes of update.
Yep. So they're up over there somewhere.
So we'll do that for next week's episode, and then look to have a better setup in 2025.
Great. And Jorge, I just want to thank you for bringing me along for the ride. It's been a lot of fun.
No, it's fun.
75th CNR. I got to say, I look forward to it every week.
Awesome. Me as well.
All right.
All right, folks. That does it for today. We've almost at the hour mark. Hopefully it's not too much yapping for you guys. But for Ron and this is Jorge, we'll see you next week. See ya.
Thank you.